Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena and I am your holistic guide and GAPS guru. I like to talk about all things non-toxic living, food, emotions, and really just creating a healthy lifestyle inside and out. Today I'm going to be talking with you about the introduction protocol. I get a lot of people who hear about the GAPS nutritional protocol and all they know about it is the GAPS introduction diet. They say things like, oh, I could never do that. Isn't all you eat broth and boiled meat? And no, that's not all we eat. But the introduction diet often gets a bad rap because of how intensive that part of the protocol is. And yes, I will admit, if you are coming off of the standard American diet, the GAPS introduction protocol may feel like an extremely restrictive diet. In this video, I want to explain what the introduction protocol is, why people do it, how do you know if this part of the GAPS diet would be helpful for you. I'm not going to walk through every single food that gets added in as you move from stage to stage, only because that would take forever, but I am going to leave a link to where you can find a stage-by-stage guide of moving through the introduction protocol with Lauren Meadowsweet in the description box, and I will also leave some helpful links and resources on understanding each stage and what the elimination process looks like and what the adding food back process looks like as well. So let's get into it. I want to start out by saying that the introduction protocol was created by Dr. Natasha because she saw the need in people for the deeper level of healing. Originally, the GAPS nutritional protocol started out as what was known as the full GAPS diet, because way back when, the full GAPS diet was all that was really needed for people to heal. It worked just fine in healing chronic illnesses, but nowadays people are so much more sick that the introduction diet is something that could virtually help almost anyone expedite their healing, and more people are really in these intense states of chronic disease that for a lot of people these stages are really necessary. For those of you who don't know what this part of the GAPS diet is, it is the part that comprises the 6 stages, each of which moves you more and more into the allowed foods. There's no set pace for this introduction protocol. The idea is that you go at your own pace, at the pace that your body can handle it. You go one food at a time and you're introducing the food slowly, waiting for your body's tolerance to grow as you move from stage to stage. For some people, this part of the GAPS diet could take a few months, but for others, it could honestly be a year or even more. It all depends on the amount of damage that your body has been through and how much healing you're really going for. So yes, the introduction diet is in depth and rigorous, but the best part about the GAPS diet, and the part that I find to be the most helpful, is that you don't have to stay there. With a lot of other protocols out there and elimination diets, you literally eliminate food and it just stays that way forever and you never can reintroduce it until there's literally really no foods left, and that is not the goal of the GAPS diet. The goal of GAPS is to really heal and seal the gut lining so that your body can tolerate foods so that they can become nourishing and healing to the rest of your body. Listen, there are a lot of elimination diets out there, but personally that just doesn't seem like the most genius method, because I want my body to be able to handle gluten someday, and fermented and properly prepared gluten, I want to be able to handle that, and I don't want to have to avoid every tiny bit of wrong ingredients for the rest of my life. My goal here is actually to heal the allergies that I might have so that I can actually start to enjoy the foods that I would love in ways that are healthy for me. So the intro diet starts really low. I'm going to kind of take you through it, but it starts with literally boiling your meat, boiling your vegetables. You're not pan frying anything. You're nothing crispy, nothing fibrous. You're really drinking tons of that really good healing meat stock, and you're slowly introducing the fermented foods and the cultured foods. Little to no dairy in the beginning, all lactose-free dairy, no nuts and nightshades, no fruit. But it evolves over time, and as you introduce these things in more and more nourishing ways, you're introducing them in balance with the way that your body needs them. A lot of us who have tons of nuts and peanut butter and almond butter all the time, and we're on diets that allow that, the GAPS introduction diet is going to set all those things aside for a time so that your body can really have the space that it needs to heal. I see a lot of people on social media completely cutting out vegetables and nuts and seeds because of the fact that they do have certain anti-nutrient properties that can make them harsh on a healing gut. But the key here is on a healing gut. These foods are not harsh on a gut that has been fully healed. In fact, they can be very nourishing in the right proportions once your gut is strong enough to be able to handle it. So the introduction diet takes certain foods out temporarily to give your body the space and the time it needs to heal when it's the most vulnerable. It's cool, right? Okay, So who is it for? I want to reiterate this if I have not already said this, but this protocol needs to be tailored to your specific body and needs. That means having a practitioner help and guide you. That is so important. So here's the thing, the introduction protocol is not for everybody and is not for everybody all the time. It might actually not be the best thing for you to start on the introduction diet where all the fiber is removed. If starting on GAPS feels overwhelming, the stress of cutting back all the way to the intro diet may not be for you. We're looking at things holistically here. So there are a lot of reasons why starting on the introduction diet may be good. But I also recommend that you find an experienced GAPS practitioner to help you really decide what's best for you right now. So when would the introduction diet be good? If you struggle with diarrhea, the introduction diet is going to be very healing on you. For those who struggle with more loose bowel tendencies, that's me. Guys, stage 2, I stopped having that completely. And if you are extremely sick, this might also be another scenario where you might want to start on the introduction diet if you're in need of this kind of really desperate, rapid healing. And the intro might be a good place to start. If you've been on full GAPS for a while, or even some other nourishing foods diet for a while, the intro might seem more emotionally manageable for you. This is a really good place to go for the deeper level of healing. I have heard it described before that healing is like an onion, and that anytime you go back to the introduction diet, or even introduction diet type foods, you're peeling another layer of that onion and moving closer and closer towards that healing that you want. So it's always a good idea to get a deeper level of healing, even if you've been on full GAPS for a really long time. Going back to the introduction diet is always a really good idea. And again, this is because it's a good way to get that deeper level of healing. This will also be a good protocol if you ever get sick. Dr. Natasha has made this the go-to diet for those who are, struggling with some kind of illness. If you're gonna get sick a lot, Dr. Natasha actually recommends going to the extended stage 2. So GAPS intro is comprised of stages 1 through 6, and extended stage 2 is basically like stage 2 plus a few extra foods, and you can change your cooking ways a little bit. But this stage is where a lot of people have camped out to find much deeper healing. I might go into this in another video about this stage and how to do it well, but in my experience with it, if you camp on this stage for quite a while, you can kind of instigate some of this really deep healing that's super important. Extended stage 2 might be a good place for you if you are looking for that kind of healing. It's the stage where the cooking methods are more normal. You're keeping those soothing and nourishing foods to be that core central of your diet, minus some of the foods that tend to irritate more sensitive people, which again nowadays is most of us. Another thing to note on the introduction protocol, it is more intense because you also experience way more detox reactions. And the more you nourish yourself with healing foods and don't feed those pathogens, the stronger and the quicker the detox reactions are going to be. So these are stages where detox support is really important. I'll go into how to do that more in another video, but for now, I just want you to know that this is a very powerful kind of healing, and it is not always easy on your body. So you really want to be in a place where you're able to process those detox reactions well. Your body will rapidly be purging things that it shouldn't be there, and it will be strengthening itself like it's never done before. So it's not for the faint in heart, all right? At this point in the video, if you're convinced that you need to go on the introduction protocol, I definitely would recommend beginning by reading Dr. Natasha's book, where she goes into detail about each stage, when to move on for a variety of circumstances, and she also has many recipes in that book that are key to starting the GAPS diet. I will definitely be letting out videos on how to make the GAPS essentials, so keep a lookout for that. Maybe I'll make a series on GAPS essentials and how to do them, but for now, if you're looking into the protocol and what you might be eating, another helpful resource that I will link below is Dr. Becky Plotner's book. It is very helpful in getting started with learning how to prepare these nourishing meals in the introduction diet and really which ingredients are allowed at each stage. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like this video and subscribe. I make a new video like this one every week, and it's really my passion to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. So I will see you in my next video.